All right, moving on to college football and the college football championship weekend recap. Drink's feeling good today because the Crimson
You
Tide
know it.
handled business, beating Georgia 41-24. That was checks notes, a whole lot more points than Georgia has allowed to anyone else this season. But beyond that, you have Cincinnati clinched their playoff spot, taking down a pretty good Houston team, which had only one loss heading in and was ranked in the top 25. They beat them 35-20. Michigan solidified their playoff position with a dominant win over the Kirk Ferences and the Iowa Hawkeyes, 42-3. Elsewhere, Oklahoma State did not do the thing. They came up inches short against Baylor. They lose at 21-16. And then what do we have? What else we have? We have Pac-12 and ACC. Go ahead, Drink. What are your thoughts? I think I got an idea of where you're going to start.
Well, I just want you to know this is going to be a totally objective view. I'm a very fair guy, but I don't want anybody to think I'm going to come in here rooting for one single team because that's ridiculous. All right. Oh yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Let's get into it. Well, I thought a Georgia fan said something. Did a Georgia fan say something? I thought a Georgia fan said something. Where we at, Georgia? Where all rise? What y'all slogan is down there? Go Dogs. Hey, that's what it was. Best team. This is the best defense in the modern day era. If you don't say, well, under further review, this Georgia defense is about as questionable as the University of Buffalo. Thank you. Look, yeah, I'm talking that talk. Because after this segment, I won't be talking that talk anymore until we see how the playoffs roll out. But, oh yeah, the Georgia fans deserve this one, baby. You deserve this one. Fresh off the stove, fresh out the oven, Krispy Kreme donut light on. You know what time it is. So here's what we seen, folks. You seen a very elite quarterback, and dare I say the best quarterback that Georgia has seen by a mile. Coming to this game with some elite targets. You know, one being Jameson Williamson. He's probably just wrapped up, you know, that Biletnikoff award with that performance.
He's good.
John Mechie, you know, hey John, get well soon, man. He blew out, you know, I think he had a ACL tear in his right knee. Yeah, in his right knee, I think. You know, running the route with that Bama pose. You know they call it wide receiver U around there in Bama. So, you know, he was out there trying to hit that route, and you know, it happens. It's the game of football. Injuries happen like that. It's nothing you can really say about it. Just I hope he gets well soon, and I hope this doesn't derail his career because he's done a lot of good things for us this year. But with that said, hey Jay, you know what they said after the Auburn game? You know, I just want to throw this out here. They said that, well, if this offensive line is struggling like this with Auburn, you can only imagine what they're going to do against Georgia. Hey, Jay, would you like to imagine how many sacks we gave up, the Alabama offensive line?
I don't think there were any, were there?
Oh, not to zip it and zip on. What I say about that Krispy Kreme light? When that light on is hot, come on in and get you some hot donuts. Because that's how many sacks we gave up. A donut. So, with that said, I'm looking, you know, I'm sitting here, a nervous underdog Alabama fan, and I'm like, yo, poor old Alabama over here, we just going to get crushed. I mean, we the number 3 team in the nation, so that means it's 2 teams better than us. So, we're going to get crushed by number 1 Georgia, the team that, yo, how many touchdowns did they allow up to this point? I think they said just a few, like 3. I think they said 3. Was it 3?
I think it was a few more than that, but it wasn't many.
You know what? I heard so much, you know, praise. I thought I heard 3, but maybe it was like 6 or something. I don't know. But, you know, they came in here and said, listen, it's been a long time since a team that rushed for 100 yards. It's been a long time since a team that passed for, you know, over 200 yards against it. If you don't say, I think we had that at halftime. Here's the deal, folks. Let me stop dragging that out. I just had to go ahead and speak my piece. In today's game, when you have an elite offense against an elite defense, most times out of 10, that elite offense is going to win. And what you've seen in the SEC championship is you seen this year's most consistent team being Georgia against a team that had played down to their opponents and up to their opponents. And everybody assumed because of that, we was going to see Georgia roll Alabama again. But what you have to understand is, look at the schedules. Just look at the schedules, right? You take Clemson, for example, a team that did not score an offensive touchdown against. Why? Because Clemson played defense. The reason that game went the way it went is because Clemson offense was just god awful, but Georgia offense was maybe a smidge better, but the defense was a good, let's say, half a field better with that pick six. So that was the difference when they played another elite team. Whereas Miami wasn't no good, but you seen what Alabama can bring to the table when they play another team that they have respect for. Now, I remind people, Alabama played 3 games this season where I felt like they had tremendous respect for the opponent. And then they played 2 games where they didn't respect the opponents. So the 3 games where they didn't respect the opponents was Auburn and Texas A&M. Because I think they respect LSU. For what it's worth, I think LSU had a good game plan. I'm going to give them that credit. They're not a good team. They just had a good game plan. 2 different things. But the 3 teams that they did respect this year was the first one being Miami in the opener, the second one being the revenge game against Ole Miss, and the third game being the SEC championship against Georgia. In those 3 games, you got a focused Alabama team on both sides of the ball. You got the results of all 3 of those games when you had a focused team on both sides of the ball. Every other game kind of gets sandwiched in between those 5, as far as I'm concerned. Now, on the flip side, you had Georgia that was taking care of business so well that people never stopped to slow down and think, what quarterback have they really played? What elite wide receiver core have they really played? What offensive line have they really played? I mean, I get them Kentucky. I thought Kentucky had a pretty decent offensive line. But when you start breaking down some of those questions and start asking those questions, you might be surprised what come back. Because then you ask yourself like, oh, wow. Now that I think about it, they didn't really play a quarterback that was really worth a dime. Oh, well, I mean, they played DJU. Did you see DJU in that game? You want to call that elite? Okay, cool. Then wide receiver core. Well, they played who they played? I'm still with. Oh, well, they had that one game they didn't play not one game with an elite wide receiver core. Not one. You know why? Because they didn't play Texas A&M or Ole Miss. But guess who did? Alabama did. So when you actually look at the schedules from the SEC West and the SEC East, it's a reason why Bama went up and down this year. They played better competition compared to what Georgia played. Georgia got a half rung up Clemson, and then they got the SEC East, and then the teams that they did play from the West. Like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, they played Auburn, Auburn and Arkansas from the West.
Arkansas. Oh yeah, no Ole Miss, no Texas A&M. They didn't even get LSU. I think even LSU would have showed us something. Something about that. But either way, the reason I'm gloating is because people jump to the gun because they assume that Georgia was playing at the same level that Alabama was playing. And like I always say, you better know what you're seeing out here. This is why I told Georgia fans, do not jump the gun and say we're trash and y'all gonna smoke us. Be happy that your team is doing well. Hell, if I was a Georgia fan, I'd probably be happy too, because y'all done lost a lot. Once again, I always ask this question. You done heard me ask this question. When the last time y'all done won anything that matters? Now, with that said, Alabama will have to play Georgia again in the national. I think I forecast. Let me say this. I forecast Alabama will
cancel
play
the
Georgia.
semifinals, folks. Cancel them.
Yo, get Cincinnati and Michigan out of here. But I do forecast Alabama having a rematch with Georgia for the national championship like 2018. If that happens, then I'll be back with my words for that. But I just want to say, you know what I'm saying? Roll Tide, baby, you know what it was. Now, to the other action that was less exciting to me because that's all I cared about was that game. The other two games I will tell you that I really I paid attention to. The Big Ten Championship, because we talked about this, right? I think they had this a 10-point spread, if I'm not mistaken, for Michigan, and I thought this game was going to be closer. I thought our defense, which our defense did stick around for a half. For a half, they was kind of in the game, and then second half came and it was like, yeah, we're going to get what we're going to get.
Our quarterback situation is pretty bad.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah. But this is what I did take away from that game. So we knew Michigan won. We had a feeling if Michigan win, they'll be in the playoff. They'll be 1 or 2. We didn't know Alabama was going to do it like they quite did it. So once the SEC championship game was over, people pretty much put Bama 1. Like, how do you not put them at 1 when they manhandle Georgia like that, right? Michigan, you could pencil them in at 2. Cincinnati, we felt like it was going to be in with Georgia losing. That kind of pushed Cincinnati back because nobody on God's green earth finna say Cincinnati better than Georgia. If you do, please go back under the rock you live under. So once we seen that result, we kind of figured out what was going to happen, right? Now, my thing about Michigan is this. What I wanted to see out of Michigan, kind of forecasting what I thought the playoffs was going to look like, I wanted to see them pass the ball more. Yeah, they had some cute little trick plays, but that ain't flying against Georgia. I did not see, what's his name, McLemore. I didn't see him stretch the field good enough to make me think like, oh my God, these guys going to really come out here and give it to Georgia. I keep telling people this. Say what you want about Georgia, but no one in this country outside of Alabama and Ohio State can stretch the field like they do. No, Michigan don't got the wide receiver or the quarterbacks to do all this stretching of the field. Cincinnati, I just don't think have the development of the players. We're going to see, but I think Cincinnati, we're going to realize how small Cincinnati is when they play Alabama. It's going to look, I think it's going to look a little lopsided, and then people going to say, Alabama got a layup. Oh, yeah, it's our fault, right? We picked the playoff team. So, and I look at Michigan. Michigan got a tremendous running game, but can you rely on that to beat Georgia? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think it's going to take a little more. So that's what I watched from that game. But, you know, congratulations, Big Ten champion. Hey, Jim, you did it. You finally did it, baby. You beat Ohio State. You still lost to Michigan State, but you're the Big Ten champ. You did it, baby. Pop the champagne, throw the corks, do it all. You finally did it. And then I did peek into the AAC championship game. I want to see was Cincinnati gonna really dust off Houston, which for the most part they did. Don't let the final score fool you. It was a dog walk in essence. I stopped looking at it at the probably the beginning of the third. I say yeah, Cincinnati gonna go ahead and take care of this one. Let me get back to the main event, and I went back to watching my boys. And I do think Cincinnati could have something for Alabama, but when I watch them, I just think they're kind of small. I mean, we'll see. Your best running back is a guy that used to be at Alabama that couldn't even make the roster. I'm just saying. ESPN brought it up. Jerome Ford, Alabama transfer, is the reason why he was transferred. Couldn't break the rotation.
Just to defend the guy, he might be kind of good. I mean, Josh Jacobs was the third back there, and I thought he was better than Damian Harris and Najee Harris, and he was still the third back.
But he was in the rotation. I said this guy couldn't make the rotation.
Well, yeah.
You got to make the rotation before the NFL look at you at Alabama. Josh Jacobs, to his credit, was a smart dude. Three-headed monster. All you got to do is make your carries work. That's what he did. That's why he was a first rounder. And he didn't start no games. He still was a first rounder. So what you saying is true. I'm just saying he transferred for a reason because he couldn't make the
real quick. Yeah, real quick off topic. Those three running backs are all starting. Just had to, we talk about wide receiver. All the running backs from that team a couple years ago, they're all starting.
Listen,
remarkable.
I just want you to know, if Tua and Mac Jones make the playoffs and somehow Jalen Hurts pick the Eagles up,
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we about to talk. But that's another
Yeah.
story for another day. So, with that said, that's how I feel. Cincinnati good win, AAC champion. Listen, Oklahoma State. Remember this. I had a rant about this last week. People wanted to put Oklahoma State in front of Alabama. Oh yeah, Oklahoma State. They playing this outstanding defense. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yo, they should be in front of Alabama. They look better than Alabama. Oh yeah. Baylor said, hold this bill. Let me go and get this hot 16 out of Ohio. 16 points out of Oklahoma State. You think they got a chance with Alabama? You better stop playing. 16 points. That's it. That's all they mustered up. That high-powered offense. That defense that's just as stingy as Georgia. Well, I would be just as stingy too if I played Sanford State and Morehouse University and whatever trash we got left outside of Oklahoma and Baylor. Like, come on, man. What are we doing here? What are we doing? So, I love the fact that they went out there and got beat in a low-scoring affair because, their defense, we know this, in a low-scoring affair, your defense supposed to be what get you over the hump. But it didn't because they lost. And then Oregon got dog-walked again, and then Mario Cristobal hit them with the, I'm off to Miami. So that was neat to see right there in the Pac-12 championship. And then I'm gonna be honest, I did not watch 1 second of the ACC championship, not one. But I know the quarterback for Pittsburgh gonna be somewhat in the main topic of our next topic. So I'm just gonna leave it off on that. Roll Tide, baby.
Man, part of me wants to, well, not wants, but part of me keeps like maybe somewhat thinking that because Georgia's spot in the playoff was kind of secure, that maybe they didn't approach the game with the, hold on a minute, hold on, settle down. Maybe they didn't come in with the same sense of urgency, the same level of focus. But I don't believe that because, I mean, Kirby, remember what I said on Friday? I said, look, there's 3 coaches I'm looking at. There's Mike Gundy, Jim Harbaugh, and Kirby Smart. Because, I mean, it's time, guys. It's time. And, of course, 2 out of 3 of them just fall over. And Kirby Smart was one of them. I mean, I was looking like, now I felt like Georgia was better just based on what all we've seen and with Bama. And I think there is merit to the whole SEC West, SEC East argument. I mean, the SEC West pretty much, I mean, even though like you had, you've got some lower echelon teams like Mississippi State, LSU don't look that good, Auburn's down, but most of those teams were in the playoff rankings at some point. I mean, that's how deep. Like, I don't think there's a bad team in the SEC West. Arkansas was the doormat for quite a few years, but now Sam Pittman's got them, playing all right. But then you think about all the other coaches over there with Mike Leach and Lane Kiffin and welcome to the party, Brian Kelly. It's going to be tough over here. And Jimbo, like, man, the coaches, like, what's it? You got, I think the least notable one is probably Auburn's Hartson. They might have should have cut there. I miss Gus, I got to tell you. But man, the SEC West is tough. And maybe the whole idea of playing down to the competition that's somewhat valid, but Bama's competition maybe in hindsight looks better than what Georgia was dealing with because the SEC East, even the team that we thought was going to be good, Florida, turned out to be a joke somewhat. Like, I mean, bye-bye, Dan. I mean, I just not good at all. But Bama did play them when we thought Florida was something. So in hindsight, I mean, maybe Bama was better than what we gave him credit for, and maybe we overhyped Georgia with all just the defense just shutting down people that you right. I mean, who is the best quarterback that they played beside Bryce Young? Could it be Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee maybe? And like that's not impressive at all because we know. I mean, normally in a normal year you'd look at whoever Florida has under center, but I mean that's just. I mean, they was in a quarterback controversy the whole year. They wanted, Cody down there was like, hey, put Anthony Richardson in already. He's not even a Florida fan. He upset about it. And then it's just the Emory Jones show week after week. I will say I had the most impressive thing about Bama in that game was the offensive line, and you could see it early. Like Georgia was coming; they was bringing some exotic pressures in that game early, and Bama turned them away repeatedly. And I thought Brian Robinson was fantastic in pass protection, picking up some of them blitzes. And after that, the dude behind the center is just out here. He's excellent. And I don't know, the whole Trevor Lawrence type hype, and maybe I need to save this for some of the next segment. But Bryce Young is the truth. We saw what he did against Auburn in having somewhat of a Heisman moment in the drive, and then you come out and this defense we've been heaping all the praise in the world onto, and he just comes out here and 340 yards or whatever, 3 touchdowns. Jameson Williams just make people look slow. I mean, it is what it is. This guy just doing whatever he feel like. I love John Mechie and what he brings. It's unfortunate that he's not going to be back for the playoffs. But, man, what an easily the most impressive win of the season based on all the juice Georgia's been coming with all year. And, man, that defense, you don't get nothing against them. And even with Georgia led this game 10-0. They led this game 10-0. And then all of a sudden, Jameson Williams, 67 yards. And then it just started, and that kind of just got Bama flowing. And then when it was all said and done, you have a pick 6, and Georgia's down 21 points, and that was the game. I thought it was impressive, and just I'm disappointed. You got to be disappointed that the one thing, Georgia, with how well they played the entire season, they still get an opportunity to come back. They're going to have I would imagine they'll have a tougher time getting to the final than Alabama because they'll have to play Michigan. I think Michigan will be a tougher opponent in Cincinnati. But they give them. I think we most likely will see a rematch. But beyond that, Michigan gotta have respect for them in that game. They went in there and they played with a purpose. They played like I thought after that win against Iowa, they had a great somewhat of an argument to be the number 1 team in the country. But I really think the idea of putting Georgia and Bama like 2 and 3, the committee just don't want to see the same game that just took place in a conference title game in the semifinals. Like, if they have to see that game again, they want it in the championship. And that's honestly what we should see because, honestly, just by the eye test, Bama and Georgia should be 1 and 2, I think. But I ain't got no problem with Michigan being 2. I definitely don't have a problem with not having a Georgia-Bama rematch in the semis. Let's have it in the finals. I think they got it. I think they got it right ultimately. And Cincinnati, just doing what they've been doing all year. I mean, I got to say, I think Bama. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be tough for Nick to get those guys completely 100% focused because I mean, it's Cincinnati. So I mean, whatever. Even though they undefeated, and I think Desmond Ridder's a heck of a player at quarterback, and I mean, Luke Fickell's a heck of a coach. I think Cincinnati I don't think Cincinnati can win it, but Cincinnati they're gonna come in there with their best. They're gonna put their best foot forward. This is probably the only time we're gonna see a Group of 5 team in there with all the Big 12, all the stuff they're doing with expansion and all that. So I don't want to get ahead too much. But then, look, Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State, yeah, you let us down, guys. And Spencer Sanders let us down with them 4 picks. You don't if you don't turn the ball over that many times, you probably win the game. But then you got to look at that defense and say, did you really just let a dude in his second career start just dice you up for 3 touchdowns and no interceptions? What is his name? What do we have here? Blake. Is it Blake? Yeah, Blake Shapen. Yeah, Blake Shapen doing whatever he wants to out there against that vaunted defense. And Oklahoma State, they couldn't run the ball, so Sanders had to do a lot by himself. But I got to say, I think Dave Aranda deserves a lot of credit for what he's done. They was awful last year in his first year, taking over for Matt Rule, and then to have them win the Big 12 title in his second year, I think that's an accomplishment that we shouldn't understate. And then what else? Yeah. I really don't care to comment on the other 2 Power 5 conferences. I really don't. I got to be honest with you.